I'm going to add a Bluetooth module to this AKAI 4000D. I need the module to be powered by the 4000D, and the module requires between 3.7 and 5 volts. The principle will be basically that we will take the output from the Bluetooth module, which we can do via a 3.5 jack socket, into two left and right RCA sockets, which I'm going to feed into the line input on the rear of the GX-4000D. Primary reason for doing all this is that it just gives me the ability to play back from any Bluetooth media source, or to record from any Bluetooth media source. And although you could say, why don't you just get a Bluetooth module and stick it on there? Well, sometimes I do move this reel-to-reel player around. Sometimes I plug it into my AV receiver, and I've got an old AKAI amp in my man cave. So I'd like that Bluetooth module to stay with the unit and be integral to it. So this is the plan anyway, and the current board I've got is the AMP PCB LE5801A. There is a Mark 1 version, which you'd have to download the circuit diagram for that board, because I don't think it's the same as this board. The manual and service manual for this particular version is available online. Easily just Google search it. Really, it's a very simple modification really. I mean, all we're going to do is we're going to pick up a 20 volt feed. I'll show you where that is in a minute, from the main amp PCB, and the 20 volt feed is supplied by the main power supply boards. Now there are three variants of this main power supply board. This is a UTZ version, this is a CSA ALL version, and this is a UK version, which is obviously 220 to 240 volt input. And the area of interest that we're going to be picking up the signals from is over on this LE5801A designation. There's pins 2, 1, 4 and 3. We're interested in pins 1 and 2, and pins 1 will be the 20 volt signal, and pin 2 is the ground reference, and we'll pick those up on the main PCB. From the power supply module, there's a white wire which goes down to pin 1 on this board, and this is the main amp board, and then there's a white with a long black dash on it which goes down to pin 2. Now the white wire is 20 volts, and the white with the long black dash on it is 0 volt. So pins of interest to us are pins 1 and 2, and they're wire wrap pins, and all we're simply going to do is solder a feed from pin 1, which is going to be our 20 volts, and a wire from pin 2, which is our 0 volt, and these will then go off to the voltage regulator board input. So we've got 20 volts at these two points, and on the output of the voltage regulator should give us 5 volts. Removing the back panel on the GX-4000D, simple enough. 4 screws there, which have got the back feet on, and there's 2 screws in the centre. Just remove that. Just remove that. What we're interested in, I'll give you a quick overview of the board. This board has been recapped and new transistors fitted, new belts. So it says all that work done. Done that in a previous video if you want to have a look at that. But we're interested in this little loom here, and this is where we're going to pick up from the main board the supply. I'll just zoom into that and we can have a look at that. This is the lead that I've soldered to pins 1 and 2 on these six terminal wrap pins. There doesn't seem to have a component designation other than they're numbered on the board 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And I've taken the positive feed from pin 1, the black wire is the negative feed, which is pin 2. The modules I've used for the Bluetooth interface there's a 5-volt regulator board, so we've got the 20 volts coming in from the main amp PCB. On the output we've got 5 volts. I've also put a small diode just onto the input of the Bluetooth module just to drop it by another 0.6 volts because I think 5 volts is the maximum. The output, the audio output, can be taken from a 3.5mm jack socket, a standard audio socket, or the 3 solder pads giving you left, right and ground. I thought we'd check the supply rail voltage. This is the supply from the main amp board. It's showing 20 volts. Output from the voltage regulator 4.96, and I'll just flip that board over, and the input onto the main board is 4.25. That's fine, so it all seems to be working. Right, how are we going to mount this? Well, I need 2 RCA sockets, left and right. I need the 3.5 stereo jack socket, which plugs into the Bluetooth module, and the 2 RCA sockets will plug into the 2 female RCA sockets, which is the line-in on the rear of the reel-to-reel player. There are fortunately a few places I can mount. There's a nice empty little shelf there, but I could bring out 2 RCA female plugs and then just have a looping lead down to there, for reasons that I can then use the original line inputs if I wish to record from some other media source, or I could do recordings then from my iPhone. But I'll make it so it basically you just unplug them if it's not in use. Alright, to connect it up as a quick test, I've got a 3.5 jack plug on this end, just plug into that board, and on the line in I'll just take the left and right signals, and then I'll plug my amplifier into these two, the line out. Pairing of the device, I'll show you on this module, but it might not be true for your module. Effectively, if I turn the power on, get a blue flashing light, and when it's connected you get that tune. You'd normally do it in a pairing mode to find it, but this is the XFW-BT. Once paired, the LED will stay constantly blue, while in pairing mode it will flash. The Bluetooth module's powered up and connected. We've checked on the iPhone that it's actually linked, which it is. Press play on the tape. At the moment we're set to tape source, so that's playing. I won't turn the music on because of loyalty music, free copyright stuff that YouTube insists on. So, but the music that I've got on the iPhone is royalty free, so I'll press play on there. So that's now playing. If we go to there, turn the volume up a little bit so we can hear that. That's showing it's playing. Press stop. So that's working. So yeah, so that seems to work fine. I've checked the voltage regulator, it doesn't seem to be running warm. Turn that back down. Basically, as long as you're in your settings, as you can see mine says XFW-BT connected. That's the Bluetooth module, so that seems to be working fine. So now if I want to switch back to tape, just press that button, and if I want Bluetooth, just press the source, and that seems to work fine. So I can press stop on there as well, and I can still get it to work.